What do you want?
You're a patriotic guy, aren't you?
Huh?
Sing us a song.
What?
Star-Spangled Banner, buddy.
He doesn't know the words.
You think you can live in our town after what you did?
Hey, listen, who are you?
Citizens of this town. We're Americans.
You had to come back, didn't you?
I'd received a call at Waldo's from an old friend in trouble. Someone here killed her brother last week, and she told me no one was doing anything about it. This was a nice little town. At least it looked like one. But nice little towns don't cover up a murder. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and the grass under my feet was green. But it was like walking in a minefield.
Hey, you! You know what you did, don't you, mister?
No, what did I do, officer?
Jaywalked back there.
Oh, I didn't see any sign. I didn't know that jaywalking was against the law in this city.
You wouldn't be making fun of our town, would you, mister?
No, I'm not making fun of your town. I don't see anything funny about murder. Oh, that's why you're here, huh?
Hollis, what seems to be the trouble here?
Well, looks like we got another one of them reporters stirring up trouble over the poor, unfortunate turncoat.
In the first place, I'm not a reporter. My name's Staccato. I came here because Purvis' sister asked me to find out why nobody's doing anything about the murder of her brother.
Oh, who cares? Her brother was a commie. She's the sister of the commie, isn't she?
Royal Purvis happens to be a decent, lovely girl.
Don't give me that, Buster. Look, I got this leg fighting for my country in Korea, and I don't want any...
Is that right? You act as if you were the only guy there. I'll have that ticket for jaywalking now, please.
Never mind the ticket this time, mister. Let me tell you something. While you're in this town, if I was you, I wouldn't make any more mistakes. Understand?
All right, I'll try to be careful. I can say I'm gonna have to.
I'm sorry, we won't be able to offer you the key to the city.
I'll find one. Hello, Royal.
Gosh, I'm glad you're here.
Are you okay?
I'm okay. Hey, let me take this. It's not exactly lavish, is it?
Well, it's clean. I didn't expect that you would be living in a palace. How long has it been, a year?
A year. How's Waldo?
Oh, he's swinging at the same old stand.
And you?
Well, I can't complain. I have my moments.
I can imagine. Oh, you're still the same old Johnny. Say, can I get you something to eat?
No.
How about something to drink?
Well, if you have a beer, I'd like...
Right. You know, you did me a favor.
How did I do you a favor?
Well, I didn't think so. It was right at the time, but now I do. You said, Royal, people may stand in line to look at you, but they won't stand in line to hear you sing.
Did I say that?
Yes.
Oh, that sounds very cruel.
No, it wasn't cruel. It was honest, Johnny. I really thought I was going to take New York by storm. And if it weren't for you, I might still be there, going on and wondering why nobody hired me. So I came here.
Which brings us to the subject.
Yes. As you can see, things aren't going too well here either.
The sister of a brainwashed GI, huh?
Johnny, you know that Joe was very delicate. You know what I mean? He was real sweet. Well, if anybody ever needed anything, Joe was right there. He just wasn't a fighter, that's all.
Yeah. Yeah, well, some cats just swing like that, I guess.
But Joe was not a communist, Johnny. He just couldn't stand the pain. I mean, you should have seen his back, and the back of his neck, and the back of his legs all over. They tore out 3 of his fingernails. I mean, he just couldn't help himself. You know what I mean, Johnny?
Yeah, baby. I know what you mean. I know what you mean, baby. Come on. Tell Papa everything.
Well, the town was shocked about it.
You still stayed here.
He wrote to me and said he wanted to come home. Well, I had to make room for him.
And then it happened then.
Yes, it happened. He'd only been home for about 2 days. And then I came home, and I just saw him lying there. And he was dead. And I never even had a chance to say goodbye or anything.
Okay, look, you know the best thing to do? Do you know what the best thing to do is? Let's take a first train back to New York. I'll keep you company. You pack your bags right now. Let's go. Huh?
No, Johnny, I don't want to do that.
What do you need this for? Huh?
I just feel that I owe it to him and to myself to make them find out who killed him.
What have the authorities been doing?
Oh, the usual things. The interviews and the pictures and the fingerprints. But, Johnny, they haven't come up with one single clue. And you know all this hate built up against my brother in this town. I know that somebody in this town did it or knows who did it.
Okay, baby. See, we have to treat this as unemotional as we can. Otherwise we'll never get anything done, you know.
Okay, I'll try.
Who's a fellow with a limp? No, the one about my age.
Oh, Ray Farragut. Oh, yes, he's the town hero. He and Joe were in the army together, you know, and they were in the same squad in Korea. And Ray came back a wounded hero, and my brother... I don't know, Johnny. I don't understand it all.
And who's the wise motorcycle cop?
Oh, Hollis, Chester Hollis. He's a friend of the Farraguts.
I see.
You know, Johnny, I don't know whether I'm doing the right thing. You know, trying to make them find out who killed him. Do you think I'm doing the right thing, Johnny?
No, I don't think so. But I do know that you and I are on the same side. The outside. You're this town's third-class citizen, and I am the nosy stranger from New York City who's come to stir up trouble, you know. Well, I got a hunch I'm going to find all the trouble I can handle. Are you all right now?
Yes, I'm okay.
Okay, then I think I'll take a look around the town.
Okay, Johnny.
I hear he's got a foreign name, right?
Yeah, we ought to ship him back to where he came from.
Well, I think we ought to teach him a lesson anyway, huh? Let's give him something to really remember us by.
The town hero and his buddy had been hanging around the hardware store earlier. I figured I might find them there again and try for a few answers before I talk to the law. You're Ray Farragut, aren't you? I just came from Purvis's sister. I'd like to...
How is the girlfriend?
She's a girl and she's a friend and that's all.
Oh, sure.
You would understand, Hollis.
What's that supposed to mean?
Never mind, Chet. Well, I suppose Miss Purvis cried and told you all about her poor, mixed-up brother who made a mistake.
Yeah, she cried.
Well, that's too bad.
It is. But I think what she was really crying about was that nobody in this town really seems to care.
Well, who does? You know, it seems like to me that the only person that get worked up over some turncoat dying would have to be a commie himself.
Well, some people have more courage than others.
Look, let's put it to you straight, Staccato. Are you a communist?
No.
Well, what are you? One of them liberals?
No, I'm not one of them liberals.
Well, then what do you want here?
A friend of mine was killed. I came here to see if I could save her some grief.
Yeah, and what do you want with us?
Somebody in this town killed a man, and nobody seems to be doing anything about it. Now, that strikes me as pretty un-American.
You know, that seems to be the way you guys operate. You work against your country, and then you use its laws to protect yourself.
Just a minute. Now, this fella here doesn't necessarily have to be a commie. He could be just plain stupid. And if he is just plain stupid, then I think that we should wise him up. Don't you think so?
Yeah, we should wise him up.
Yeah. Well, now tell me, mister, what kind of a guy do you think Joe was?
I didn't know him.
Oh, you didn't know him? Well, I'm going to tell you about Joe. Joe was a very good friend of mine. Ever since we were 4 years old. You know, this is a small town, mister. By the way, what town are you from? New York?
Yeah, that's right, New York. No thanks.
That's what I thought. Well, anyway, in a small town, mister, people are pretty close. They tend to walk the same streets, so to speak. They go out with the same girls. They even get to where they talk alike, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. I know what you mean.
Well, anyway, in a small town, mister, you're either an enemy or a friend. And Joe was a friend of mine, a very good friend.
Look, what you say seems to make a lot of sense, but it doesn't answer why he was killed. And it doesn't answer who killed him.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to let the facts speak for themselves. Now, Bundy, you get some of the boys together and we'll meet down at Pa's office. And you tell him to bring out that file, Joe's old war record. And then we'll decide whether Mr. Staccato here is also a subversive or just plain stupid.
I'll see you, Ray.
All right, Chuck. After you, Mr. Staccato.
No, after you, Ray.
Mr. Staccato, if you please. Sit here. Dad, this is Mr. Staccato.
How do you do?
Questions?
Yes. And I'd like some answers.
I'm not sure I can give you what you'd call answers. I can give you fact.
Well, two things bother me, Mr. Farragut. Given that a man who collaborates is a coward, trying to save his own skin. Question. Where does this man get the courage, this coward, to come back and face a town full of hate?
I can't answer that. And I don't care. What next is bothering you?
The other thing that bothers me, Mr. Farragut, given that decent Americans do believe in law and order, question. Why does a town full of patriotic citizens try to let somebody get away with murder? I mean, where's the law's place here? I don't understand unless...
Unless it's justifiable homicide.
I just don't quite understand what justifiable homicide is.
Maybe that'll explain it. I take it you can read?
Oh, yeah, I can read.
Good. I think you'll find that those are legitimate photostatic copies of United States Army documents. I think you'll find on page 3 testimony by certain GIs that proves our Joe defected to Red China. You'll also find on page 7 information concerning the death of a man in Joe's cell block shortly after he went over. My son's legs were broken. You'll also find pro-communist propaganda booklets written by our Joe.
Like I said, Staccato, Joe was a friend. But can you tell me how a friend could side with the commies while his buddies were being tortured and killed? Oh, he couldn't take the pain? Well, I did. The others did.
Yeah, well, I don't know all the facts.
You don't know the facts? After what you've just read there?
From what I've read here, it would seem that he was disloyal.
In time of war, mister. In time of war.
Yes. Mr. Farragut, war is horrible, isn't it? But Joe Purvis was killed in time of peace.
Look, son, I'm a good citizen. All of us in this room are. We don't condone murder. We don't know who did this, but one thing is for sure. Nobody is going to take time out to find out who did it. Those are facts. Of course, we're not the police here, but I think you get my point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The point is, Staccato, we don't want you here. We don't want you in our town. Now, why don't you take the next train out of here?
And take that red sister with you. Oh, the girl's no good either, huh?
She'll only cause herself trouble. It would be much better if she, well, what's she going to do here?
Yeah, what is she going to do here? Well, I think we've said all we have to say to each other. Today, gentlemen.
Johnny? What do you want?
We're gonna help you pack. You're leaving town today.
No! No!
Sergeant?
Yes?
I'd like to see the chief.
What's your name?
Staccato. John Staccato.
Well, I'll tell you, the chief just happens to be out of town.
Well, I'd like to know what's being done about the Purvis murder, if anything.
Everything that can be done. The whole force is working on it. That's all I know.
Well,
Sergeant Harris? Yes, I'll be right over.
Staccato, you don't like this town, do you?
frankly,
Well, I do. I grew up here. It's a very nice place to live.
look, you're a policeman. And if it's such a nice place to live, you were hired to enforce the laws here, so why don't you do it?
Look, mister, I don't want to argue with you, but let me tell you something. I can't afford a private opinion.
And if you could afford a private opinion?
Let me give you a piece of friendly advice, huh? Take that girl and get out of this town before somebody else gets hurt. Get it?
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get it. Third-class citizen. Oh, boy, that had always been kind of a cliche to me. The sign said we reserve the right to refuse anyone's service. That was me, Mr. Anyone. They wanted me to leave.
Easy, baby. Don't talk. It's all right. I'll call the doctor, honey.
Do something.
Well, who did this to you?
Hey, Tommy lover. She tell you all her secrets? What happened?
What's going on?
Royal Purvis was beaten right here in your fair community. I want to report it. And I want to find out if you're going to do anything about it.
Charlie, call the doc.
No, doctor! She's dead!
Get the body. You better come into the office, Staccato.
I'm not going anywhere until you give me an answer. Are you going to do anything about it? Why don't you all go inside? Why don't you take a good look? Maybe it'll help you to decide. That girl was 24 years old. 24 years old and beaten to death. Now, good, bad, or indifferent, she was a citizen of your community. Now, why don't you go inside and take a good look? I know you don't all feel that you want her to die. Now, your police force says, why don't we go inside and review the facts? And that's wrong. And it's wrong for a whole town full of people to stand by and let Joe Purvis and his sister be beaten to death. I just keep on asking myself one question. Just one question. How can a whole town of 9,000 people be so blind to injustice? How can you live in the same country I did and have no pride in it? How can you let a prejudiced, ignorant, power-hungry man tell you what to think? You look at me. I'm talking to you. And you don't look like you're not responsible. You're just as guilty as him. For letting a man like this lead your town. Farragut! Why don't you take a good look? I'm sure you'll be very proud of yourself. Why don't you tell them all how proud you are of yourself? Why don't you get up and make a nice long speech and tell them how proud you are of the two men that killed that girl?
Just a moment, Staccato. I didn't do this.
But you're not sorry she's dead.
I had nothing to do with this.
But you're not sorry she's dead!
I said I didn't do it. Drive off.
I'm sorry.
Staccato, we are sorry. And we are going to do something about it.
You're darn right we're going to do something about it, and right now. Wait a minute! Now listen to me. There's nobody here that's more sorry for what happened to that girl than me. Now, in a way, it's my fault. I don't know, maybe it's all my fault. But I promise you this. There's going to be no more violence by anyone in this town. I want 3 men to step up here and volunteer for deputy service. Bundy, you.
Staccato, I've been in this town all my life. And I'm glad for what you did. If there's anything I can do for you.
Yeah, there is something you can do. You got a pen or a pencil? I'll give you my address and the address of the funeral parlor in New York. If you'd be good enough to send the body down there and charge it to me.
We can give her a decent burial right here.
Somehow I don't feel that she'd want to be buried in this town.